Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you are new here, welcome. Welcome back to another challenge chat where I talk about the most recent episode of the challenge Double Agents on MTV. So today I'm just gonna kind of recap my thoughts on the most recent episode and not go into as much detail as I have in the past on each part of the episode, but kind of just give you like my thoughts as we're getting down to the final. I think we only have about 4 or 5 episodes left this season. There's not as much drama. Of course, we still have some, but there's not as many players to talk about. The daily challenges aren't taking as long. So I kind of just want to give you my thoughts and just some feedback that I have, even for MTV, on how they can improve their challenges and things like that going forward. So we left out the last episode with a whole bunch of new partner combinations. Corey and Big T are now partners. Fessy and Nany are now partners, and Kyle and Aneesa are now partners. So when the episode starts off, it kind of just shows Aneesa and Kyle trying to start new, turn a new leaf, and just kind of talk to each other about maybe some little drama they had in the past, kind of what happened. Kyle pretty much owns up and says, you know, sorry about the things I said about you in the past. And at the same time, Kyle admits in one of his off-screen interviews that he feels like right now the only people in the game he can trust are Casey and Leroy, who are partners. So that's the only team he feels like has his back. Also, Corey is now partners with Big T, like I mentioned, so he is kind of at the point where he's like, I need to earn my gold skull. It's time. I mean, the final has to be coming up soon. I need to do it. So he's already trying to talk to some of the guys like Leroy and Darrell, saying, hey, like, can you make me the house vote this week? I need to do the house vote. And Leroy and Darrell both are kind of like, it's too early to even talk about that. And to me, I guess I can see their point, but at the same time, not really, because why would any of them want to go down there automatically to defend their skull? So to me, I would almost think it would be a no-brainer for Corey and Big T to be a house vote, but that's just my thought at this point in the episode. It seems like they're kind of acting superior, like since they already have their gold skull, they call the shots. And it just seems like they're kind of telling Corey just to like go away and be patient. And it just came across as like rubbing me the wrong way, but it's whatever. Cam is actually thinking that Aneesa and Kyle should be the house vote. So they're pretty much saying like if Aneesa and Kyle don't win the daily challenge, it's probably likely that Kyle and Aneesa would actually be the house vote, because although they both have gold skulls, they might be one of the easier teams to target, and they're not necessarily part of any of the bigger alliances like the Big Brother alliance, or they're not really aligned with Leroy or Cam. So it would make sense to throw them in to be the house vote if Corey and Big T were not going to be the house vote. However, at the same time, Corey has mentioned he wants to go against Kyle, which I can see it. Like, why would he really want to go against Darrell or Fessy or Leroy? So that makes sense. I could see him wanting to go against Kyle. And Aneesa is partners with Kyle right now, but Corey is also Aneesa's #1 guy in the house. So I could see how that kind of puts her in a hard place when she knows that Corey is wanting to go against Kyle, and Corey tells her that. So they're having a conversation about that. Of course, the problem here is that you really never know whether it's going to be a guys or girls elimination. Of course, right now there actually is not a rogue agent. Due to the last week's elimination, right now everyone is partnered up. So there is no rogue agent. If we're going how we've been going every week, you know, men's, women's, you would think this is going to be a men's elimination week, but because we are getting so close to the final, I feel like you really never know. It could be a double elimination, it could be a purge elimination, or it could be a girls. I feel like you really never know, so you still always have to think about what your partner's going to think, or when you think about what player you want to throw down, you're always throwing down their partner as well. So the daily challenge seemed pretty cool to me at first. They were going to be swimming between these tectonic plates, and they would be guided along through a rope, and they had to collect rings along the way. Once they got to the end, they would have to decode and solve a puzzle. However, I figured out the challenge really wasn't as cool as I thought it was. So I thought it was going to be similar to a challenge in a previous season in Battle of the Bloodlines, where they had to get to these different air pockets that were underwater, because TJ said they weren't coming up for air. He said they were going to be underwater this whole time. So I'm like, oh cool, they're gonna have to go along this rope, like find a breathing mouthpiece, or they're going to have to swim to an air pocket. to make it more challenging and kind of play into that fear of drowning, which a lot of people have. But instead, the mouthpiece is going to be on them the whole time. So it's almost similar to like when you're scuba diving, you know, you have that breathing device on you the whole time. That's what it is essentially. So really the only thing that would stop you from finishing this challenge is if you're just scared. So it ended up not being as cool as I thought it was going to be, yet not every team finished, which I was surprised about. One thing to note is Casey and Leroy did get to pick the order, and remember how I said Kyle thought Casey and Leroy were his only friends in the game? Well, they put him and Anissa up first, so they must not really feel like Kyle is a friend to them, because they pretty much screwed Anissa and Kyle over by throwing them in to be the first team to go, because they're pretty much saying, you're going first, you figure it out. So Corey got a DQ, he couldn't finish. Amber B got a DQ, she couldn't finish. Nani got a DQ because her mouthpiece got messed up, and I don't know if it actually made it so water got in her mouth or it just flustered her because Fessy had kicked her on accident when they first started going. He just took off and kicked her. So they were DQ'd. So that's already 3 teams that didn't even finish. So then that only puts 3 more teams in the running. However, in the end, Anissa and Kyle ended up being the team that won, which I think surprised everybody. And it really shows that under pressure they can do well, because they really did need to win this week. Otherwise, they most likely were going to be that house vote. Nani is kind of saying that she regrets picking Fessy. She's just saying that it seems like they're not going to really mesh well together. I think she's just so used to having someone like Josh as a partner, really supportive, a good partnership, like listening to each other. And she's telling this to CT. So in my head, I'm wondering if maybe something happens where one of them get the opportunity to steal, maybe they would pick each other, because CT seems like he's having some trouble with Cam too. And I, for one, would be super stoked to see a CT Nani partnership. Let me know if you would too. Now, Darrell says if he has the opportunity, he would steal Leroy's partner Casey. And I'm like, that's interesting, because he's worked with Amber this whole time. It seems like they've done well together. I mean, Casey is a great competitor. She did make it to the final last season, but you would think if you've kind of built up this bond and you're working well together, if something's not broke, don't fix it. And in the deliberation, Corey does pretty much give the same spiel that him and his partner Big T are both ready to earn their gold skull and would appreciate the vote. However, when it comes time to show everyone voting, I only saw maybe like 1 vote for Corey and Big T, and I'm assuming it was probably one of them that voted, and I saw a lot of votes for Amber B and Darrell. So that's interesting. I don't know if it's because they thought that Darrell would be someone that would beat Corey and get Corey out of here, or they want Corey to beat Darrell and get a really strong competitor out. Now, in my opinion, and this was kind of floating around on Twitter and some other YouTube channels, this would have been an opportunity for that Big Brother alliance to get rid of either Darrell or CT. So if they're making Darrell the house vote, which spoiler, that's who ends up getting the house vote, Darrell and Amber B, it would be smart for Anissa and Kyle to throw in Cam and CT. Because if it does end up being a double elimination, you have Cam having the opportunity to lose her skull, and we all know she's a great competitor, but more importantly, it puts CT against Darrell, 2 challenge champs, 2 veterans, whereas if they're both in the finals, I mean, it's very possible they're taking 1st and 2nd place. So it would be good to have them go up against each other. Now, would I want to see it from a personal standpoint? Probably not, but I think it would be smart. So basically all the teams except Corey and Big T and Darrell and Amber B voted for Darrell and Amber to be the house vote. So they all pretty much came together and said, yeah, we're voting for Darrell and Amber. Darrell did say, you know, he's ready to defend his skull. He's not scared. It's part of the game. So I guess at least he has a good attitude about it. When it does come time for the elimination, Anissa and Kyle vote in Corey and Big T because they want to give them the opportunity to earn their gold skulls. They both seem super excited. However, when TJ says it is a men's elimination, you can just see the heartbreak on Big T's face. She seems very scared and worried. She doesn't know when she's going to get the chance to earn her gold skull because we are coming close to the end. She just feels like she doesn't know if she's going to get that chance. So it's Corey and Darrell going up against each other, which kind of sucks because I would like to see both of them stay. I wish it would have been Corey versus Kyle, or Corey versus Fessy, or even Darrell versus Fessy, to get Fessy or Kyle out of there, because those would be my least two favorites out of all the guys that are still in the house. But they are playing Operation Snapping Point, which we've seen before. TJ says this is the third variation, so he's increased the resistance. And the thing about that is the resistance couldn't have been too crazy, because this didn't even end up being a like endurance-based challenge at all, because Corey was so fast when they had to run with the rope attached. Corey was so fast, he got to the buzzer before there was any resistance on the rope. So Darrell never even had a fighting chance. And I think if it was able to get to the point where they were both like digging themselves in the ground and having that endurance and strength based challenge elimination, I think it would have been a very even playing field, and I would have really liked to see how that would play out. But Corey was able to just get it done, and he won. And Darrell got sent home. Therefore, it's time for Corey to pick a new partner, and Corey decides to pick Cam. So no surprise here. Now it seems like everyone wants Cam. So Corey picks Cam, which leaves CT without a partner, and this was the moment I think that maybe shocked everybody. So the two options were Big T and Amber B. It would make sense for CT to pick Amber because Amber already has a gold skull. So it kind of makes sense to keep Big T the rogue agent, but CT says, he goes like, TJ, you know, it's only right. This person helped me get my gold skull, so now I want to help her get hers. If she'll have me back, I want to have Big T as a partner. Big T looks up at him and she kind of smiles and she's like, okay, let's give it a go. So now Big T and CT are reunited as partners, and that leaves Amber B a rogue agent for the first time all game. She's been with Darrell all game, so it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. And then finally, TJ says this is far from over and nobody's in the final yet. So I don't know what that means. And it is interesting because he says all 10 gold skulls have been handed out, and then there's one rogue agent. So there's 11 players left, and I did look, there's about 5 episodes left. So what is all gonna happen in those 5 episodes? I'm eager to see. So let me know your thoughts on this week's episode. What do you think TJ means when he says it's far from over? But I do have a few top tweets for the week. Someone said, I am so frustrated with Anissa. She's the person who tried to get Wes versus CT on day 1. But now she can't pull the trigger on CT versus Darrell with the final in reach. CT has clowned her for years, and here's her shot to end his game. She's also ruining Kyle's game. Now someone else says, who's going to tell Amber B that Darrell was about to swap her out if he won? Because she was really, really upset, saying how much she's gonna miss Darrell, which is understandable, but he was getting ready to steal Casey if he won. Anissa really should have thrown down Nany and Fessy, if we're being honest. That was a good idea too. Kim and Corey, prettiest team in challenge history. Anissa doesn't want CT versus Darrell. Why not one of them versus Fessy? Why not break up the Big Brother alliance? Exactly. Someone said, y'all must have forgot that Corey's been conserving his energy all season. Exactly. But that's it for this week's video. Let me know your thoughts on this week's challenge episode, and subscribe so you don't miss the next challenge chat, and I will see you in the next video.